What's up, A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday. Going to have a good show talking Titans quarterbacks again, because that's basically the main topic here these days in Nashville whenever you're talking Titans. Brian Callahan did update the health of Titans quarterback Will Levis, but we're also going to talk about the other two quarterbacks the Titans have a chance to play, because Easton brought up in our pre-show conversation, this is like the third time already in now 5 games the Titans have been in a different situation when it comes to the quarterback that they are facing. And so which quarterback convo gives the Titans a best chance to win in this game? There's 4 different quarterbacks. You can choose your fighter. Then we're going to talk through a lot about the Titans running backs and their uphill battle that they're having to fight yet again for another season to this point in the Titan season. So we'll do some of that. A little running back Tony Pollard talk in the second topic of the show. And then we've got throwing shade on this Tuesday to wrap things up. Hope everybody had a great bye week weekend. Easton, I hope your bye week weekend went well. But back at it, ready for another big week before the Colts come to town on Sunday.
Yes, we are, Austin. Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody that is with us this morning live. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a great morning. Help us out. Hit that like button. If you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, all you got to do, hit that thumbs up right below our pretty faces. It is free for you to do, and it's very helpful for us. So hit like for us this morning. Make sure that you're joining us in the comments section, like Corey and Roz, Titans, Kyle, NM, Titan, Diane, Vanessa, Bork, Bobby, Rashid. Appreciate all of you guys with us this morning, talking Titans. Send the link to a friend today. We want to get as many folks in here on a Tuesday as possible, and let's get the show going.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Easton Freeze, one of our Titans reporters for A to Z Sports.com, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. That's at A to Z Sports. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans with your health coverage by getting a quote today using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. And TDOT, helping you can be a part of the solution to keep Tennessee beautiful by littering across the state by visiting NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. So, Easton, is the audio good? Audio check 1, 2.
I think so. I appreciate Bork helping me out there. Way to look out, Bork. We should be good to go this morning.
That sounds way better than before. So, all right, let's go ahead and get the update from Titans head coach Brian Callahan. After the bye week, the Titans have a little bit of a bonus day. Of yesterday was a walkthrough practice or whatever. It was closed to the media. And so that was it's a bonus practice opportunity for the Titans before they get their regularly scheduled week underway, with Wednesday being the first day of practice. But here was the head coach updating a lot of different levels of the Will Levis conversation after the reported grade 2 AC joint sprain in his right throwing shoulder Monday night in Miami, just about 8 days ago.
Will probably won't practice today. I know you guys will probably ask that. He probably won't practice today. Give him one more day before he gets back into their weekly routine on Wednesday, and that should be ready to roll. Again, we'll stay tuned to any updates or changes, but expect him to be in the practice routine this week.
So with Will, I guess is just going to monitor him through the course of the week. Have you seen improvement since last week?
Well, we'll see. I mean, he did a little treatment. He was here for most of the week and the weekend. He got out for a day or two, like everybody else did. But he's in the improving, and so we'll see where he's at when we practice Wednesday. But he's definitely better than he was, after the game.
Does his situation kind of put you in a situation where you were in the game, where if things aren't going well, and his shoulder could conceivably be a factor, and it gives you a easy way to turn to Mason?
No, I mean, I think if he's good to practice and good to go, then he's going to play, and that's really unless it's affecting his ability to do his job, I don't think there'll be any discussion on that point. Again, if it still hurts a ton and he's having trouble throwing effectively and all those things, then yeah, that's a whole different conversation. But again, we'll just see how the week of practice goes. But I feel pretty good about where he should be at.
For Will, do you know what kind of the feeling is, the maybe emotion for him right now in that shoulder and getting that ready for Sunday?
Yeah, it's going to be a process during the week of getting comfortable. I mean, it's not going to be probably not going to be pain free. I mean, it's just the nature of a throwing shoulder injury, and you do your best to manage it. And as long as he feels he can do his job, then he's going to go do it. And yeah, it's going to be like every player right now. They're all dealing with something. Some of it's more impactful than others, but everyone's dealing with something they're playing through, and he'll be playing through it.
So, Easton, what was your thoughts on that? You were at that press conference yesterday, and a lot of interesting questions about Will Levis's shoulder. Just to recap, did not practice yesterday through their walkthrough that was closed to the media, but did say he felt better, right? It was kind of he didn't really answer in much. Like, yeah, he's feeling better than he did after the game. Well, of course, it's been a week. You should feel better, regardless. That doesn't mean you feel good.
Guys, he feels way worse. I don't know what's going on.
But what was your takeaway from that 2 minutes of Brian Callahan talking about Will Levis's shoulder?
Yeah, my takeaway was that it's right where you expected it to be. I don't think that he really had a lot of substantive update to give us. And I think that he was just being honest in that we are on the schedule we thought we were on. You're right that he was not super clear about how good he felt, just that he felt a little bit better. I'd imagine he and the Titans are tentatively waiting to see what Wednesday and Thursday and Friday look like for him as he gets back out there to throw. Because as we talked about on Dog Talk last week about an AC joint injury to a quarterback, the primary treatment is just rest. And Brian Callahan said as much, that he's been in here, he's been doing the ice and the cryo and, whatever PT stuff they have you do with a AC joint injury. But the primary thing is just chill out. Don't go out there and throw. Don't be lifting weights. Just take it easy on your shoulder. And so I'd imagine they don't really have a great idea as to where he is because they haven't tested it yet, because they shouldn't have tested it yet.
Yeah, and Titans Kyle, he's right. Brian Callahan's really getting good at it. He's doing that old head football coach thing of he spoke a lot without saying anything.
It's an art.
It is an art, and we are sitting here. It only took Brian Callahan. Look, Brian Callahan has been an open book to this point, which has been great. But we'll see how this transforms with a quarterback injury, right? With that he's going to have to be more protective over the situation. Because honestly, I don't feel like they feel like they're confident that Will can play on Sunday. But just because based on that, because Ian Rappaport said, they feel like he can play on Sunday. This was last Thursday. Paul Kaharski had the reporting also, I believe, last Thursday that it was an AC joint. He wouldn't be able to play that, during the bye week, but they had the bye week to let it rest. But it does, he kind of answered if it's a pain thing, then he's not going to play. But if he can practice and then he can play, then he will play. But it was Monday, and they've still got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practices to go to before they host the Colts on Sunday. But honestly, I think the answer, the 2 minutes of back and forth there with Brian Callahan and a couple different media members, I think the door is still open for Will Levis to not be good enough to go against the Indianapolis Colts as of Monday at 10:45 when Brian Callahan took the podium. Do you agree or disagree with me?
I almost agree with you. So I almost agree with you. You said that you're not sure, or excuse me, you said that you don't think that they are sure that Will Levis will be good enough to go.
Yes. I think the door is open that he might not be good enough to go.
Right. The thing that I slightly disagree on is I think that they're still of the same mind that they were last week when we heard that reporting. He will be healthy enough to go in week 6. But it's kind of one of those things where sometimes we injure ourselves and it's we got a big hiking trip coming up in 3 weeks. I'll be good for that. In theory, it's I'll be fine for that. Don't worry about it. And you get to it and you're well, I could do it, but how painful is it going to be? Is it going to be worth it? I kind of think that the reality of the actual game now looming is making them question. We know he's going to be healthy enough to go out there. But one, how painful will it be for Will? And two, and more importantly, is this a situation where we're going to need to protect him from himself? Is it going to hinder our ability to win the game to have him in there? So again, I think that they aren't questioning whether he will be able to go. I think they're questioning whether he should go, which credit to you is kind of where you thought they would be last week. It was purely speculative on your part. But you know what? Sometimes, you flip the coin, you get the right result.
Oh, come on. Yeah, it was speculative, but it was, look, when you run a business, you have to be thinking multiple weeks, multiple months ahead of time. That was just going into practice of me saying like, look, I don't think it's worth the risk of a potential re-injury to Will Levis in week 6. Give him 7 more days. I think there's a big difference for a grade 2 AC joint in your throwing shoulder, and big difference in 13 days rest and 20 days rest. Like, right. Give him that 20 days. And I think that is a smart, a smart thing to do, to be patient with it, because the whole goal is to learn long-term. And I understand that some people are like, yeah, but if he's going to be the guy, you got to see him come out of it and deal and protect himself after the injury.
Like, I'm not going to sign up for understanding that. I don't think that's silly.
Well, yeah, I think it's silly too. But like, I think it's all about the full season of evaluation for Will Levis, and you can't evaluate Will Levis if he's injured for a month or longer. And a re-injury to this injury could put him on the shelf for a month or longer. So let's go ahead and ask this question, and we'll get into it, because and I did see Terrence is asking about your homework from last week. We will.
Oh no, I forgot about my homework.
Well, guess what? There's always tomorrow for your homework, and you've got 2 pieces of homework too that you have to get to. But we'll recap the homework here in a second. But let's go ahead and ask this question, because I do feel like this is a very, very interesting conversation, because we just heard the update from Brian Callahan on Will Levis that he didn't practice yesterday during the bonus walkthrough close of the media practice session, but they expect him to be good to start the regular week on Wednesday, but they're still not sure whether he is fully going to be capable to go out there and play. But if he can practice, then he's going to play. And if he can't play, he's going to play the whole thing. So here's the question, because the Colts also have some situations going on with their quarterback, as Joe Flacco is able to lead a 37-34 win over the Jags on Sunday. Which Titans-Colts starting quarterback combo would most likely set up for a win? There are 4 options: Levis and Richardson, Levis and Flacco, Rudolph and Richardson, and Rudolph and Flacco. So which Titans-Colts starting quarterback combo would most likely set up to a Titans win? Oh, I'm sorry. The Jags won, not the Colts. The Jags won. That 37-34 Jags, not 37-34 Colts.
The Jags tried real hard to lose, but they did not lose.
They actually got that one. So which Titans Colts quarterback combo sets up best for a likely Titans win between the 4 options? We'll get to those here in a second with your comments. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should go for all of your injury situations. We've been talking about it for not quite a full week, but we did a fantastic Doc Talk segment with our guy, Dr. Ian Byram, at the Bone and Joint Institute last Wednesday about Will Levis's shoulder, because he's a shoulder expert, but he's also an elbow expert. So we're talking about Big Jeff's elbow too. This should be fine and should be ready to go for Jeff. We'll learn more about that throughout the week. But whenever maybe you hurt your shoulder or elbow, you can go see Dr. Byram that we talked to at the Bone and Joint Institute, because they're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. And whenever that injury pops up in life, don't let it linger. Don't let it just become a pain. Go get it checked out. Go get it taken care of, because they can take care of any type of injury, whether it's just something that you can manage at home. They can educate you on how to do that. If it's something that's more serious that needs some type of procedure, they've got a bunch of different options for you and can make it easy to get back to living your regular life. So check them out online or book an appointment today when you need them, boneandjointtn.org.
Austin, we're also brought to you this morning by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. They are ready for football season. All you got to do to get hooked up big time with BetMGM is use our bonus code when you sign up, ATOZ Sports. Plug that bonus code in there when you sign up, and they're going to give you up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bets. Whether you're cheering on the Titans at the stadium or watching the game at your favorite Music City sports bar, you're always going to be in on the action with the BetMGM app right in the palm of your hand on your phone. There's nothing better than a Titans win. There's nothing like the thrill of winning at BetMGM. Enjoy the best parlay selection options, boosted odds specials, daily promotions, and so much more. Download that BetMGM app today. Sign up using our bonus code ATOZ Sports and experience football season like never before. My brain froze. Just let's pretend that didn't happen. BetMGM, an official partner. I didn't know who I was, where I was, what I was doing, but you should use BetMGM. So go sign up there.
Yeah, you absolutely should. I got back on the winning ways with BetMGM over the weekend because I was down bad. But anyway, less about that.
Hey,
so,
congrats to you.
Easton, homework for tomorrow. You have to watch Space Jam. You have less than 24 hours to watch Space Jam. You can figure it out. I trust you. You're 24 years old. You know how to
I
problem
don't know.
solve
How do you
when you're
stream
watching.
things? Is it? Do I have to go to the library to get the VHS of it?
Yeah, you have to check it out of the library. And then you also have to learn your Belmont fight song. And,
I can do the fight song. I can't promise Space Jam, but we'll see. We'll see if I get the Space Jam.
Then you get punished if your homework is not.
Well, listen, first of all, I didn't draw a magic bucket saying I had to watch Space Jam. I just was willing to do it. And number two, would you rather me sit and watch Space Jam for 2 hours, Austin, today, or would you rather me contribute to the company's bottom line by writing?
I think there's plenty of opportunity to do both. It's
I
Tuesday.
can't. Only so many hours in the day, Austin. Should I write or should I watch Space Jam? If you as my boss want me to watch a movie instead of write, I'm happy to do that.
I would like you to understand why guys my age wore athletic shorts under their other pants or shorts and watching Space Jam.
And that movie's going to do it? Okay.
Yeah. Real quick before you get to the answers, the Power Hour says late to the party, but congrats, Easton, for joining A to Z. West,
Thanks,
your best
man.
Going forward. So, hey, how about that? It's been a while since you've been congratulated for all these takes.
You were going to tell me congrats at like the Draft Live show in April. Yeah.
All right. So I'll let you get to the chat, Easton. Which Titans Colts quarterback combo, which is a mouthful, gives the Titans the most likely chance to win on Sunday? There are 4 options. It's either Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, Will Levis and Joe Flacco, Mason Rudolph and Anthony Richardson, or Rudolph and Flacco, the 2 elder guys. Which of these 4 quarterback combos would most likely set up for a Titans win? What are you seeing from the chat here?
I'm seeing more about Space Jam than I am about these quarterbacks. Scrolling up here we go. MB says it doesn't matter. Flacco, Taylor, or Buzz Taylor, both. Okay, that's not, never mind. Ignore that. Levis versus Richardson is what Orlando wants to see for a Titans win, wants to see the 2 young guys go at it. Jonathan thinks it should be Rudolph and Richardson. Alex says it's also Rudolph and IR15. Nice little pun there. Seeing primarily Richardson's on here. So I think one side of the equation is relatively set in people's minds in terms of who they would rather play. Steven says Flacco or Richardson both could beat Rudolph, which I tend to agree with you, Steven. Brian says give him Mason and Richardson. So yeah, man, it's mostly Richardson's, and people are pretty split on whether it should be Mason Rudolph or Will Levis. My answer is if Will Levis is healthy enough to play, the best chance to win is Levis versus Richardson. I think that the 2 young guys is what the Titans would prefer to see. And listen, Anthony Richardson was a guy that I was extraordinarily high on coming out of the draft. I remain very high on him because he was the project of all projects. He is only 8-7 games into his NFL career, even less of a track record than Will Levis, much younger than Will Levis. And so a part of my expectations for him was that it could be really ugly for like a year or 2. And that's where they are right now, for sure. So whether I'm right or wrong on him, we'll have to see. But as of right now, he is somebody that, I don't know if we pulled some of those stats this morning, Austin, we can get to in a minute, but he is really inconsistent. Maybe the streakiest starting quarterback in the NFL. Accuracy is a real concern. The flashes are still there. So he's a guy capable of making literally 3 plays in a game that are enough to beat you if you let him. But that's something that the Titans have done a relatively good job of, right? Talking yesterday with Brian Callahan, and he knocked on wood when it was said in the press conference, the Titans have not yet allowed a 40+ yard reception. So they've limited the explosive plays. We've seen, I don't know if folks have been watching enough Colts to realize Alec Pierce just tearing the, I mean, you think Rashid Shaheed is fun for the Saints. Alec Pierce just tearing teams up with the deep ball. That's something that the Titans are going to have to key on to keep that 40+ yard receiving streak alive. Ultimately, I'm very high on Joe Flacco as well, and think that he's awesome, and think that he might be, actually, no, I think that he is the best backup quarterback in the entire NFL, to be honest with you. I think
because of what we saw last year with the Browns, I don't think many people are going to argue that.
Well, I've had arguments, but we can talk about that
that's not today.
But I think most folks agree that he is very, very, very good backup. And we saw last week they didn't win, but it wasn't because of Joe Flacco. He in fact, he was a big part of the reason why they were even in the game at the end to begin with. I just think the variance you get with Richardson is so much higher. And that's the reason why everybody in the chat is agreeing it should be Richardson if the Titans want to win, because you can capitalize on Richardson mistakes. With Flacco, you're going to have to find a different way to beat them than by beating the quarterback.
So let's focus on the Colts quarterback that I think people want to see first.
Sure.
Before we go to the Titan side of things, and then we'll kind of blend it all together. And I did put up a poll on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, first of all, like the show on Facebook and on YouTube. But also, I'll get to the poll question, because I think the good thing about the current question is there are 4 options, and we're going to be able to see how crazy different these might look. So let's talk about Colts quarterbacks first. Richardson and Flacco. The second quarterback with the most turnovers this year is Joe Flacco, behind your own Will Levis, Titans fans, because he has 6 interceptions. Richardson does.
I was about to say Richardson, right? Yeah.
Did I say Flacco?
You said Flacco, and I was like, that can't be right, but maybe I'm wrong.
Richardson has 6 interceptions and has played in 4 games, and Will Levis has 6 interceptions in 4 games as well. But like you're correct about the big play, because regardless of who the quarterback is, there are 18 pass plays of 20 yards or more on the Colts season so far. Right. 6 of those are Alec Pierce. Then you have 4 of them with Michael Pittman, a couple with Josh Downs. And then you've got a lot of other guys that have the ability to get chunk X plays on you, all the way down to Kylan Granson and Tyler Goodson, if you know who the heck those guys are.
Sound like fake names, but they're real players. Yeah,
they're real players, and they do have a 20-yard reception or longer on the season. So the Titans have been very good at limiting X plays, especially the big ones like the double X plays of 40 or more. And so you have to make sure you can keep that up. Now, the thing with the 2 quarterbacks for the Colts is that regardless of who it is, they're going to air the football out, because Anthony Richardson is averaging 8.5 yards per attempt.
I believe he leads the league in that
which
regard.
Is like approaching Ryan Tannehill 2020 numbers with AJ Brown, where he was like 9.2 yards per attempt in that crazy season. Joe Flacco's at 7.5. But the difference of why I think it's like the crazy thing about this is Anthony Richardson's completing 50% of his passes and is 8.5 yards per completion, where Flacco is at 70% of his passes with 8.5 yards per attempt. 7.5 yards per attempt, but like they're still, all of them are airing the football down the field and completing the passes down the field. Richardson is way more feast or famine than Flacco is more just like take little snacks and then have a feast every once in a while too. But then you have the running ability of Richardson that I think is the other factor into this.
I don't know, Austin, did you see old man Flacco scampering in that game?
I know Joe Flacco had a 21-yard run, so you can
hit 18 miles per hour. He was scooting out there.
Yes, which is crazy. And he hit 18 miles per hour. And Big Boy last night.
I immediately went to see if it was the longest run of his career, because I wanted it to be, but no.
21.
In his young days in Baltimore, he was breaking off 30-yard runs, and he was getting after it.
Young Flacco was not a he was light on his feet. Yes, yeah. The old Delaware hen could move. So Where was I going with that? Oh, the Richardson running yards
Movement,
though,
right.
like
The real movement.
he is legitimately averaging 6.7 yards per carry. He's run the ball 21 times in his 3+ games because he didn't finish the whole game. So if
It's
you
how he's
add,
getting himself hurt, actually.
yes, right, but that's 200 yards a game if you're talking about Richardson rushing yards and passing yards, where Flacco is throwing for 260 yards per game in his two games games played. I think for me, I would rather see Anthony Richardson, and I think the chat and you are both, we're all aligned on that Anthony Richardson gives you the opportunity to really be able to capitalize on mistakes, where Joe Flacco's mistakes are not as big.
Right.
Joe Flacco, you can sack. He's been sacked 6 times in 2 games. Richardson just 4 times in 4 games.
Is that the Titans' strength?
Well, where
Not
I'm going
really.
to push back on this a little.
I'm not going to say they're bad at it, but it's not a strength of theirs, right?
But the Titans' worst defensive performance of the year was against Malik Willis.
Right. Really mobile.
And what did the Packers do? They put the Titans in a big-time conflict on how they used Malik's legs beautifully,
Totally.
and the Titans were not ready for it. The ultimate wild card is the legs of the quarterback,
I see.
and can you stay disciplined when it breaks down?
Right. So your point isn't the sackability. That get a guy in there that they can sack because they're good at that. Your point is
where Flacco's going to be.
Right.
And like the
Eliminate
same thing, it's the
variable.
same thing I said about Diego Pavia Vanderbilt yesterday. Diego Pavia is so unconventionally good that it's difficult to prepare for, because you don't know where he's going to be. You don't know what your rush goals are. It's hard to rush like a fishing net with somebody like Diego Pavia, who's going to do some weird stuff and get out of there like a wizard, like Patrick Mahomes last night. How in the hell he dove for that first down on 3rd and 8, but he did it and he got it, and the spot was incorrect, and they overturned it correctly. But that's, that is so unconventionally good, you can't defend that. Anthony Richardson has some things that you just can't defend, and they will be a backbreaker for you. Ironically, the Titans are playing potentially Anthony Richardson the same weekend the Vols are playing the Florida Gators, and there's that little bit of Florida Gator aspect of battered Vol/Titan syndrome of how it can creep up here on how a quarterback's legs from Florida can have a Tennessee defense just be crushed with their hopes and dreams, because you do everything correct, but yet Anthony Richardson makes a plays with his legs, and all of a sudden a 3rd and long becomes a 1st and 10 because he gains 11 yards when you thought you had him. And that's where I think Flacco does at least allow you to tee off a little bit more, predict where he's going to be. And the things that you can't really defend with Joe Flacco are the back shoulder throw 15 yards down the field where one of your corners is in a great spot, but that's just Alec Pierce or Michael Pittman making a really good play from a 35-year-old Joe Flacco who put it right where it had to be. So pick your poison. Which you can't defend that. Would you rather have? Sometimes I would like to know where the quarterback's going to be and not have that kill me on 4th, 3rd, and longs throughout the entirety of the game, because those add up and will break you down mentally.
Yeah, and by the way, I bet the Titans would rather play Diego Pavia this weekend than Will Levis. Folks in the comments know who I'm talking about. Shout out that radio show. I agree with you 100%. I think that I'm sitting here in mental conflict because it is a pick your poison kind of thing.
I do want to answer. My answer on which Colts quarterback would I rather see if I'm trying to predict the Titans win, I would still rather see Anthony Richardson.
Okay. So we are on the same.
But it's not as clear cut,
right?
As I think it could be, because both guys are airing the ball out. Richardson's turnovers are just a potential game changer, just like his legs are.
Well, so that's where I'm at, is that it really is that Malik Willis performance that's stuck in your craw when you think about the disaster potential there. Richardson is a slightly different runner than a Malik style quarterback. So I think that's also, Richardson is he's not quite in that shifty mold as much as he is a run you over kind of guy, which is also effective. But I think him
Also
coming
why he
off
missed last week's game.
well, that's what I was going to say is that
Yeah.
coming off of an injury where that was explicitly the reason why he missed a game. And then in the game where he got hurt, getting hurt, doing that, coming out, and it's still one of the most bizarre sequences of the year. They put him back in a play later and he runs into somebody again for some reason. And then he comes back out. Him and Levis might be in that same mental space where it's like, I better not hit anybody this week. I better be cautious. And so that might keep him from taking off as much as he otherwise would want to. His coaches may be in his ear saying, don't you dare drop a shoulder on somebody. Just play it safe. Get down if you run. But to my original point, and to I think your ultimate point here, I am willing to roll. If I'm the Titans, I am willing to roll the dice on the supreme uncertainty that is the Anthony Richardson experience, from his rushing prowess to his turnover possibility to the downfield play ability that he has if you're not careful. All of those things are a gamble, but they are variables that lead to high variance in NFL games, and you win NFL games on high variance plays. That's why turnovers are so important. That's why X plays are so important. The things that have a little bit of luck involved, and ultimately you have to be good at doing that flip a game from an efficiency standpoint. Those are things that Anthony Richardson gives you, both good and bad. But with Flacco, he's just the control, right? And if you're the Titans and you're playing Flacco, like I said at the top of the show, you're going to have to find another way to win. It is not going to be, I mean, unless your pass rush just really figures it out somehow, and you're blitzing linebackers and nickel corners and slot safeties, and you're just getting after, and you sack Joe Flacco 6 times, maybe that's the way you beat them through Flacco. But otherwise, and I'm not holding my breath that that's going to happen. Otherwise, you're going to have to, you're going to have a dominant offensive day. You're going to have to dominate the trenches in this game. You're going to have to really shut down their star receivers. You're going to have to do something other than make Joe Flacco lose the game. And I think that that's harder because I really like Joe Flacco and think that he's really good at what he does.
There's the other caveat too, because somebody in the chat asked, what's Jonathan Taylor been up to?
Not
this season?
Much.
Well, he actually, when he's played, he's been pretty good.
He's been the Jonathan Taylor we know and love, but it's been really inconsistent.
Well, it's, in week one, Anthony Richardson was a leading rusher with 56 yards, and a Colts lost to the Texans. But Taylor had then back-to-back 100-yard games against the Packers and the Bears. Then he had 88 yards 2 weeks ago against the Steelers, but suffered an ankle sprain and missed last week. I'm reading from our Destin Adams at A2ZSports.com about the Colts injuries to monitor. Here's what Destin says about that. Is that the team chose not to place Taylor on the short-term injury reserve list, which means he won't have to miss the minimum 4 games, but he wasn't able to practice last week. It's hard to gauge the chances of playing in week 6. Hopefully, in Destin's words, he'll be able to return to practice at some point because that's the first step. Once he can test that ankle, give Taylor the Colts a better idea of how long he'll need before returning to the field. So it feels like Jonathan Taylor will not play, or is more likely
leaning that way
to miss the game than he is to play in the game against the Titans. And the Titans have been pretty good at stopping Jonathan Taylor. They've had their problem with the Zach Mosses of the world, and they've got former Ohio State Buckeye Trey Sermon in the backfield as well, who didn't do
and
much.
Somebody else. Who else do they have?
I had it pulled.
Kind of had a little breakout week. I'll go find it.
Well, not running the football. Tyler Goodson, who I mentioned earlier, but
he had one good week this year. All right, I'll look it up.
But anyway, they ran for 99 yards last week against the Jags, but 22 of that were Joe Flacco, and they didn't really run the ball that often.
I love it.
But anyway, so Jonathan Taylor may be unlikely to go, but I think I am Anthony Richardson without Jonathan Taylor, I think is a good thing for the Titans.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson with Jonathan Taylor. Now you're like, okay, because now you're talking about the whole Malik Willis and Josh Jacobs and the other Packers running backs of the conflict of zone reads and misdirection that the Titans are going to have to stay disciplined on. And they've struggled with because the Titans inside linebackers are headhunters. They are like Kenneth Murray and Ernest Jones, the fourth.
Seeking missiles.
Yes. And so if you can get those guys to be having to think and go side to side and get some play action or run action with some zone reads, then you're going to get those guys out of place because they're very fast when they make their decision. And so if you can have them make the wrong decision fast, then you've got a lot of room to run the other direction. So that's where I'm at on the Colts quarterback. I do want to update this poll, and I've yet to answer the Titans quarterback side of this thing. I know you said that you would prefer Levis and Richardson.
Right. And we can elaborate on that.
The question is, which Titans Colts starting quarterback combo would most likely set up for a Titans win? The 4 options are Levis Richardson, Levis Flacco, Rudolph Richardson, and Rudolph Flacco. Easton, I'm going to tease you with this because I'm going to tell you the percentages here in a second. The 2 Joe Flacco options of Levis and Flacco and Rudolph and Flacco combined for just 15% of the votes on the YouTube poll. So 85% of the answers
want Richardson no matter what.
Richardson, regardless of the Titans.
That's not surprising. Yeah.
So I'm going to get to my answer and the full updates here in a second. But first, Farm Bureau Health Plans is where you should turn for your health coverage needs. If you're trying to figure out that next step, if you're like, man, how much are we paying for your health coverage? You could pay less by going to Farm Bureau Health Plans. FBHP.com/ATOZ is the website to get a quote. They do a phenomenal job. They've been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years, and they can help you out as well, regardless of your spot in life. And the best thing about Farm Bureau Health Plans, once you get in, you're golden. Once you get in, you're riding with Farm Bureau Health Plans because they will just keep getting better and better the longer you're with them. It's truly a great relationship. We've had a great business relationship with Farm Bureau Health Plans just from this side of things with Farm Bureau Health Plans over the last 3 years and how they want to make sure they reinvest in their community. They care about Titans fans because of their work with A to Z, with Titans Radio, with other partners with the team as well, and other colleges across the state and communities. You see the youth baseball fields. If you're playing fall ball anywhere around on the outfield, you're probably going to see a Farm Bureau Health Plan sign right there on the outfield fence. So Farm Bureau Health Plans, they want to make sure that they triple down and invest in their communities across the entire state. Get a quote today by visiting them at fbhp.com/ATOZ.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Sign up using our bonus code today, ATOZ Sports, and you're going to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. I've had a pretty successful year betting myself, Austin, and a bet that I am liking so far this week. How about the Motor City Kitties, Detroit Lions, 3-point favorites on the road at Dallas. I watched the Dallas Cowboys play on Sunday night last week and Monday morning last week. I think that they are not a very good team. I think that defense is nowhere near championship caliber, and the offense looks painful, hard. Meanwhile, the Detroit Lions, very good team. I think that right on that field goal, I doubt it stays there. I bet you it gets inflated north of it. So if you like Detroit early this week, grab that early line over at BetMGM using our bonus code ATOZ Sports. Grab the Lions -3 while you still can.
Ooh, I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. All right, so the question is, which Titans Colts starting QB combo would be most likely to set up for a Titans win? And now it's 16% Flacco, 84% Richardson.
Okay.
That's the Colts side of things. So I got the YouTube poll up there. But you said Levis and Richardson. Expand a little bit on your why you go Levis over Rudolph to give the Titans the best chance to win.
Yeah, it's the same reason that I've been on the Levis train this whole time. I think that he clearly has the most upside. Aside from the conversation we've kind of been having about the importance of him playing, we can set that aside. This is just purely from a who gives you a better chance to win this week. And it's nothing against Mason Rudolph. And I think that he's a top 5 backup in the league. I think that he's a perfectly capable player. But I think that the conservative nature of the game plan you have to have if you're playing Mason Rudolph is not one that's going to win you this game. We saw with Joe Flacco last week, the Colts backup, they scored 34 points in that game. Unless you have a game script like you did against the, again, hapless Miami Dolphins. And I feel like that Dolphins performance is kind of jading people's opinion about what this Titans team can do. Sans quarterback, like who needs the quarterback? We can score 30 points basically without them. Man, that Dolphins team is really bad. Did you watch them play the Patriots this weekend? They are rudderless. They are not a representation of teams that are capable in this league. And the Colts are a capable team right now with either quarterback. And so I don't think you're going to get a game script with a Rudolph against Richardson or against Flacco that's going to be conducive to you playing aggressive, dominating the trenches, leaning on your opponent. The way that they did in the majority of that game against the Dolphins, I just don't see it happening that way. And I think if you get behind even a little bit with a Mason Rudolph, you're put in a bind, because do the coaches trust him to push the ball downfield? Do you trust the offensive line to give them the opportunity to push the ball downfield? With Levis, you have more of that ceiling. You have the established chemistry with the receivers on the roster. Again, this is all about a Levis that is healthy enough and
Right.
pain-free enough to play. So like if Will doesn't feel like, if he's not able to play pain-free enough, then he shouldn't play. That's a different conversation we'll have later in the week. But right now, if we can assume he'll be good enough to go, I think that he gives you the best chance to win against, again, a divisional opponent. We saw this past weekend, the Cardinals, a 7-point underdog, beating the 49ers in Santa Clara. Any divisional game is a losing potential game for any team in the league. You cannot overlook your divisional opponents, and you cannot understate the importance of the Titans' first divisional game. You need to be at 1-0, and so you need to pull all the stops.
Anthony does say that the Titans only scored 30 because the illegal kick that put them inside the 10. That 30 doesn't count.
That helped.
So,
that helped. That was part of it.
Look, I mean, it counted on the scoreboard, but I do like Anthony's thoughts on, like, let's just keep that. That wasn't like a dominant 30 plus that just came out of nowhere. Just Smash is answering with Rudolph versus Flacco. Mason manages the game, and Flacco has zero speed when under pressure, and he has faith in the Titans front. And I think, like, if you think that Joe Flacco is a better win probability for the Titans, it's because you think the Titans can sack him a bunch and maybe get a strip sack, which he's not prone to do. But you think you're betting on the Titans defensive front to pressure Joe Flacco enough to keep them at bay. I'm on the vote of where, let me check the updated percentage. Come on, YouTube. YouTube. There we go.
There we go.
I am in the slight minority because the number one voted answer on which Titans Colts quarterback combo is most likely to set up for a Titans win is Will Levis and Anthony Richardson at 44% of the vote. Okay. I think it's Rudolph and Richardson, which has 39%.
Hang on. Can you repeat that one more time for me so I make sure I have my numbers straight here?
Levis and Richardson.
Right.
Combo, 44% of the vote.
Okay.
To most likely set up for a Titans win.
Right.
Rudolph and Richardson, which is where I go, is at 39% of the vote.
Okay. So it's pretty close.
It's pretty close. And that's what we're talking about. 84% of the vote right now, 85% of the vote is going towards Anthony Richardson at quarterback for the Colts, where it's way closer to 50-50 when you're talking about who the Titans quarterback needs to be to give the Titans a better chance to win. And the same reason why I want the Titans to see Anthony Richardson is the same reason why I think in this particular aspect, Mason Rudolph is the safer answer to win the game for the Titans, is because of the wild card of the turnover that ends you. Both Levis and Richardson have the ability to give you the turnover that ends you. Now, right. Which game is going to be more entertaining? Let me roll out Will Levis and Anthony Richardson and let them battle it out like they're in the SEC East playing for two bad Kentucky Florida teams. That is going to be phenomenal TV because you don't know what's going to happen. Some guy's going to do something to put his body in harm's way, and they're probably going to throw an interception that makes no sense. But if I'm the Titans and I truly want to win the game, I'm eliminating that wild card from my control with Mason Rudolph because of what we talked about last week with all the different factors. If Will Levis did not have a shoulder injury, this wouldn't even be a topic, right? Like, it wouldn't even be a topic on the table. We'd be talking about Richardson and Flacco, but not Levis and Rudolph.
What?
Because there's no injury concern to try to protect.
But what the argument I understand that we literally wouldn't be talking about it on the show, but the argument you're laying out here, and I want to give you the opportunity to explain, it sounds like an argument that has nothing to do with Will Levis's injury. It sounds like you just think Mason gives them a better chance to win.
Yes, because of many factors. And the turnover factor is the number one.
So for
but
you, injury or no injury, it still would be a conversation, actually, in terms of winning the game.
No, the injury is why. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear enough. Like the injury is the only reason why I'm considering this. Like,
So you think if Will Levis was completely healthy, he would give them a better chance to win the game,
it's
or do you
not.
think they should play him? That's what
No.
I'm asking you.
There's no thought. Mason Rudolph is not even a thought if Will Levis is fully healthy, not coming off of a throwing shoulder injury. But because that is a factor, we are having the conversation. Because Brian Callahan said he's not practicing on Monday and the bonus day, that he should be likely to practice and start the regular script on Wednesday, and we'll see what happens. We'll see where the pain is, right? They talk through all this, but if he wasn't coming off of a shoulder injury, the Titans would be playing Will Levis, and we wouldn't even talk about Mason Rudolph.
I get that they would be doing that, and we wouldn't be talking about it. But I'm talking about you in this thought experiment in terms of who gives them a better chance to win. It kind of sounds, and it's fine if that's your answer. We don't have to even get into it.
No,
today.
it's because the injury is the preface to this entire conversation. Is that I still think it is smart and would be a smart move long term for Will Levis to let him have an extra 7 days of rest, on his throwing shoulder AC joint.
Right.
And let Mason Rudolph not lose a game for you. Because there was a comment, I think you favorited it.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. So, Alex, Mason gives them the better chance to not lose the game. And that is where I've been ever since, what was that? Thursday's show that we first brought this up. Maybe it was Thursday, Wednesday. I can't remember. It was definitely Thursday's show I think if the Titans can get to 2-3, the outlook on the season is very different because what we talked about yesterday.
Mm-hmm. But this is what's funny to me is that this comment right here is the reason why you lean Mason, and this comment right here is why I lean Will. We interpret it differently, and I think that's what's interesting is that I agree with you that he gives them a better chance to not lose the game. But in the NFL, when you play to not lose the game, you tend to lose games. You have to play to win the game.
But that's not what Will Levis has shown you so far this season. He has shown you that everybody else has done enough to win the game against Chicago. Not everybody. The special teams was bad. But
the defense,
the defense was great. The offense supporting cast, the offensive line wasn't good, but they were still winning the game. Until Will Levis threw the ridiculous turnover.
And I'm not disagreeing with you that Will has not shown you that he is the win the game guy. Has Mason? No, he has also not shown you that. He's just shown you he won't go in there and lose it.
But what is their track record? Like Mason Rudolph has been able to win games in his NFL career more than he's lost games. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a good defense. They've got TJ Watt, and then somehow keep finding another guy to go opposite of TJ Watt who's really good.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
They also have Mike Tomlin who just wins and doesn't lose.
Right. It just is.
Majority of the time. So I think that's where Mason Rudolph in this situation, you were at 1-3. 1-4, done. You're toast. 2-3, you're open. And now you're 2-3, and Will Levis can get another week healthier. And now you get more opportunity to say, okay, Will, how do you evaluate Will Levis on a football team that's still playing for more over the next 3 months rather than just the first divisional game of the season? I really think you have to do the right thing to win this game against the Colts to set yourself up for the next 2.5-3 months of evaluating your entire organization behind Will Levis.
And I get you, man. Like I hear you. I don't think it's a crazy argument at all. Fundamentally, I think that you and folks in the comments that agree with you are underestimating the Colts, are underestimating a divisional opponent, underestimating what it's going to take for the Titans to win this game. Putting a guy in there that is basically going with Mason Rudolph. What you're signaling there, the vision behind that is, well, we'll just let the Colts find a way to lose the game. We'll make sure the Titans don't lose the game. We'll let the Colts do it. I don't think they will. I think that they have. I think that
mistakes can win, and that's
that's the case in most games, right? But
it's a maxim, yeah.
But I view this Colts team in this matchup, similarly to how I viewed the Packers in that game. I have a ton of respect for their coaching staff. I have a ton of respect for just the nature of divisional games and how teams pull out all the stops. They're really familiar with the intimate situation, the intimate details of the other team. I think that it's going to be a really tough win. And I don't think I am not confident in banking on the Colts to make enough mistakes to lose the game. They have found a way a couple times this year to win or nearly win because they did enough things. Like they've not been a team all year long that have been making big mistakes that have cost them games. Like the Titans have done that. The Colts, not so much. And so
Richardson still has 6 interceptions.
I understand that, but it's not been games like with Will Levis where it's been like, wow, that big mistake from Richardson is the reason they lost.
Yeah.
First of all, they've won some games with Richardson.
Yeah, they've won
a couple.
One.
Well, I guess they won the one where he left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, the Colts win more games when Richardson leaves with an injury than they do when he starts and finishes. Like,
wait, say that again.
That is a real stat. The Colts have won more games when Anthony Richardson has left with an
started
injury
and then left
than games than he has finished.
Right.
That is a real stat, and the
Right.
Titans are a part of it because they lost the game that he got knocked out last season. So that
what I want fans to understand about my point is that I think you need. I am not confident that Mason Rudolph. I am confident that Mason Rudolph's floor is good enough to win a game if the other team makes enough mistakes. But I am not confident that Mason Rudolph's ceiling, if they were to play him this week, is good enough to beat what I think this Colts team, coaching staff, offense is going to bring to the table in this really important divisional game. It's worth pointing out. This divisional game means just as much to the Colts as it does to the Titans.
No doubt.
We talked all week about how this is a must win for the Titans. Man, the Colts are sitting over there on their morning shows this morning talking about how they absolutely can't lose this game. You can't drop to 0-2 or no, 0-3. This would be them dropping to 0-3 in the division this season. Can't do it.
Home?
It may mean more to the Colts, frankly, than
Colts.
the Titans.
Yeah.
So they're going to be giving you everything, no matter who the quarterback is. And that's why I think the Titans need to do everything in their power to be the highest ceiling team possible in what we think is a must-win game.
All right. We're going to save our second topic for another day because I think that's a really good conversation because I got a couple comments I want to get to here from you guys that I favored it real quick. T-Dot, that's where you should go and help them keep Tennessee beautiful by being a part of the solution to end littering across the state. 88 million pieces of litter are on our roadways across the state of Tennessee, and they can all need your help because you can do a couple things. You can stop littering, tarp your trucks when you're driving down the road because that's how a lot of incidental littering happens, but that's a rule. Tarp your trucks. It's actually a law to do that when you're carrying loads down the interstate, but also pick up litter when you see it, and then join local cleanups. I saw somebody commented yesterday. High schoolers usually need community service as a part of their syllabus to graduate. And so make T-Dot a part of that. Keep Tennessee beautiful by visiting nobodytrashestennessee.com, nobodytrashestennessee.com to find a litter cleanup near you this fall. It's awesome weather outside, so you can go do that on a day where it's not 1,000,000 degrees in Tennessee, and also help keep our state beautiful and help clean that up because T-Dot spends $23 million a year trying to clean up that litter. And it's still a massive, massive problem. So be a part of the solution by visiting nobodytrashestennessee.com.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Use our promo code ATOZ Sports when you sign up today to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. That means you got insurance on that first bet. Take a wild swing. Do something you maybe otherwise wouldn't do. See if you can win big on your first bet. And if not, don't worry. BetMGM, our friends over there, they've got you covered. They will give you back up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you use our code ATOZ Sports.
All right, so we're going to punt and save our second topic surrounding the Titans running backs for another day because I did see some comments that I wanted to get to.
Okay.
Let's see. Amnesia says, Austin, when are people going to stop hating on our quarterbacks? Young, Mariota, Tannehill, Willis, and now Levis still haven't learned from the Malik beating. I don't know what Amnesia is truly getting to. Can you decipher the point of this super chat?
I think his point is that every Titans quarterback since McNair has had a significant contingent of detractors. But in the NFL, unless you happen to stumble into a Patrick Mahomes or a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady or a Josh Allen, even if you have a guy like Josh Allen, frankly, you're going to have a lot of people that hate the guy because that's it's a high leverage position in the game. So amnesia, you're looking for a utopia you're never going to find.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
That's not a Titans thing. That's an everyone thing.
Right. So Gene had a couple comments I wanted to get to because he said, "How do you evaluate Levis from the bench?"
You don't.
And then he goes, "I don't know why all these media outlets keep beating a dead horse when Callahan, the actual coach, said he's riding with Levis." Because again, like how do you evaluate Levis from the bench? No, that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
Because re-injury for this AC joint on your throwing shoulder is a strong possibility 13 days because of it takes a hit. And a hit could
this
be
misunderstanding is what caused big problems last week. Big problems.
Right. Is because like Will Levis could get hit on that AC joint by his own doing, by throwing his shoulder into a linebacker, running the football, diving for a first down like it hurt in the first place, or in PF playing bullfighter and going Olay and letting somebody blast him and hitting Will Levis squarely in the shoulder.
I wish he'd at least go Olay. It'd be cooler. He just stands there
with the red cape and then spins.
Right.
And,
he just gets set for the next play. He's already in his 3-point stance.
So like you can't evaluate Will Levis on the bench. So don't put him on the bench for too long, which is having him have a longer term injury. That is the worst case scenario for the Titans is that Will Levis misses a month or more with an injury. So have him sacrifice a game and give him another week to heal from his throwing shoulder.
Whoa.
And now you can go with him. What's up?
Just random but massive news. The Jets just fired Robert Saleh.
Whoa, I did just see that come through.
That's
okay.
Wow. Maybe that's a little conversation for tomorrow. That's crazy. Hey, if you had Robert Saleh first head coach fired, cash those bets, baby. That's a vote of Aaron Rodgers' confidence right there.
I
hate to derail our conversation, but
yeah, I mean, that's a long flight back from London, knowing you're about to fire your coach.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, they left him in London. That's crazy.
No, I hope they brought him. They probably.
No, I'm joking, obviously.
It's Tuesday. They brought him back and then they fired him.
Hey, you know who they got to make the head coach now?
Nathaniel Hackett.
That's right. Nate Hackett, head coach part 2.
Oh man,
there's a couple Titans legends on that coaching staff that can make the head coach.
Todd Downing is now the offensive coordinator.
Head coach Todd Downing. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean Nathaniel Hackett's going to be the interim coach, and
you think so, right?
And
especially with Rodgers in charge, yeah.
And then Todd Downing is going to be the offensive coordinator.
I want them to lean all the way into the Rodgers runs the organization. Make Rodgers the first ever interim player head coach. Just do it. Just make him the guy. You've already got a radio in his headset. Just link him into the coaching headsets and let him try to do everything at once and see how it works. Anyways, we'll maybe talk more about that tomorrow as that falls out over the course of the day.
Right.
But it was just a press release for the people at home to make this as crystal clear as humanly possible. And I'll speak for you, Austin, because I understand your point. We understand our points. Folks in the chat, start the cameras. Here's what needs to be said. The only reason that anybody with A to Z is talking about the potential of Mason Rudolph now, last week, next week, the only reason is to allow Will Levis to play more games, not to play less. Nobody, no matter what they think of Will Levis at this organization, wants to see less Will Levis this season. We all agree it should be all Will Levis, and sometimes you have to let a guy rest more to be able to get more of that guy. So that's the only reason we're talking about it, baby. We don't think that they're going away from him. We're with you when you say, well, the coach is, we know, we agree. The coach is saying it. We believe the coach. This is about injuries, not about talent.
Yes, it's about protecting the injury. It's a throwing shoulder. It's not like it's Anthony Richardson might have to fight through some hip pointer pain. Like, okay, you can do that. Like, but
can he still throw? Right.
I mean, yes, if he's, but like,
that's what I'm saying. You can fight through something if you can still throw.
For sure. Like, this is a shoulder injury to his throwing shoulder. Lewis does add this. I wanted to bring up real quick. Easton, I totally agree with Austin, but how do you not know with a full week of practice that a game plan around Rudolph would not be successful?
I don't know
I
that
think
it wouldn't be successful. I'm not saying it would for sure be a disaster. That's fair, Lewis. I get what you're saying. I just, I guess I am giving more credit in my head to what the Colts are going to do to the Titans in Nissan Stadium than most folks are. And I think you need the highest ceiling quarterback for that. And so, I think because Rudolph is a great backup quarterback, I stand by that. I think that he is capable with a good game plan of contending in pretty much any game. But it's a 2 out of 10 situation where you're gonna have to have everything go your way, and that's just you're banking on a lot of things there. So
Yeah, for sure. Amnesia has another super chat that he's kind of contradicting himself because Amnesia is out here saying I'm a Levis hater, full and full. But he says, was this season about Levis or the season? It's hard to draft the next quarterback to complain about when you're 6-11. I'm tired of the revolving door at quarterback. Like no, like that's so you're the one who's saying that play Levis to lose more, or no, don't play Rudolph because you're going to be in purgatory. Like I think Levis should play the whole thing. Like so, Amnesia, like you're Levis needs
we
to
can't
play.
win for losing.
Yeah,
Austin,
Levis
because
needs to
you
play.
hate Levis apparently, and people think that you're a
Look,
loser for it in the
I
chat. I love
significantly-
Levis, and people think that I'm a loser for it in the chat. No matter what you think of Levis, you're a loser in the chat.
I significantly doubt Will Levis's ability to be a long-term quarterback for any NFL franchise, and I feel like I have plenty of things I can point to say why. Right,
And
like,
that's fine. That's fine.
yes,
But
but
people are giving
again-
you crap for being a hater. Edward's over here giving me crap for being a Levis stan. And apparently I suck, and he can't help that. We no matter what you think of Levis on this show, you're going to get hate for it. It's just the way that it is.
A couple other super chats. Brian says, "Is Flacco the only backup in the league to have won a Super Bowl
Where's Carson
like
Wentz playing?
as a quarterback? As a
the guy
starter.
playing in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Well, there aren't many actual Super Bowl winning
Quarterbacks active.
quarterback. Like we didn't we talk about this on the show recently, where it was like
Maybe I don't remember.
I've talked about it with somebody where if you go back the past 20 years, like it's mostly Brady and the Manning brothers and Mahomes, and then the list of guys that aren't those four guys is really, really small.
It's like Mahomes, Stafford, right?
Good point. Stafford. Yep. Super Bowl winning.
I mean, it might just be those two guys. Are those the only two active quarterbacks who won a Super Bowl?
List of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Here we go. Not looking for Bart Starr. Let's go a little more recent than that. Okay. Mahomes, Stafford, Brady, Mahomes, Brady, Foles. He
retired.
Okay,
He
yeah.
retired.
Brady, Manning, Brady. Russell Wilson's a backup. There you go.
Oh, Russell Wilson.
Russ. We forgot
Russell
Russ.
Wilson's a backup. Yeah.
And then Russ and Flacco in 12 and 13 back to back. And then it's Manning, Rodgers as a starter.
So there are 4 active quarterbacks who have won a Super Bowl. 2 of them are backups.
That's crazy. Yeah, only 4 active guys. Now there are plenty of losing quarterbacks.
No, Rodgers. Duh. God, we're thinking 5.
Five,
So there are
five.
5 active quarterbacks who have won a Super Bowl.
Mahomes,
2 of them.
Stafford, Flacco, Russ,
Rodgers.
and Rodgers. Small list.
Carson Wentz did not. He was on a Super Bowl team, but
He's got a
didn't play
ring,
in the, yeah,
but-
like I'm not talking about guys that have a ring.
Well,
I'm
and
talking
in
about guys
his
who won it
in
as the quarterback.
in his defense, he was not on the bench because he didn't suck yet.
He was
He was
recovering
awesome
from
that season
ACL
until he
surgery.
got hurt. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
quite good actually. But
Here's the
Yeah.
other crazy thing. 3 of those 5 are on different teams from when they won the Super Bowl.
yeah. So it's like guys that are kind of, Flacco obviously twilighting, Rodgers twilighting, Stafford twilighting.
But Stafford's still on the Rams where he won, but the Rams are awful right now.
Right. I'm just like, in terms of guys that are going to be around much longer that are Super Bowl winners, it's
Pat.
I hate it here. Yeah. Okay. Somebody
it's
else
crazy.
win, please. Anybody.
It is
Oh.
crazy. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up this Tuesday show with a little throw in shade. If you have shade to throw at the chat, well, yes, Robert Saleh was fired. We just saw that. So if you got some shade to throw it and comment in the chat. We'll read it here in a second. Time to throw shade. Shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. That's where to go for your new car buying process. Just go check it out. Just go see what they have on the lot or what they have on their website at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. If you have shade, bring it in the chat. We always like to throw shade at the end of a Tuesday show. Get it off of your chest. If you've got something you need to blast, do it. Easton, do you have any shade you want to throw? What do you think?
You know, hand up. I really didn't think about it until right this second, but I got a couple things just ruminating on my mind.
Okay.
One thing is I have to get some cavities filled later today. When was the last time you had a cavity filled, Austin?
Oh,
It's been a long time for me, and I kind of got blindsided by it. A couple weeks ago, I went to the dentist for my regular checkup, and they're like, "Hey, you need to get some cavities filled." I'm like, "What am I, 12? Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." So
I
I'm like, "Is it something I did?" And they're like, "Honestly, you just don't have the best teeth in the world," which I've known. My dad gave me bad teeth genetics. I'll probably have to like get caps when I'm 30 or something. But
that sucks.
yeah, well, you know, everything else about me is great, so I can't complain, right? But yeah, getting cavities filled at noon. You know what? Tomorrow's show, I'm kind of banking on it not being an issue, but I'll be all numbed up at noon today, and then by tomorrow morning, I might be. Good morning, everybody. It might be rough.
You should be okay.
I should be good, so we'll see.
Yes.
Tune back in tomorrow to see if I sound funny. So that's my shade.
I think we're approaching a decade from my last cavity.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me. It feels like I was in middle school when I last.
Again, hey, but I'm a decade older than you, so like, I probably had
my
one.
age when you.
There was one like early mid-20s that maybe I did have. So King VC has a super chat that's not Titans related, so I did not read it until now. But two things: lock in, like the show. Shout out to Easton on his age game clutch guess yesterday. He's pulling for me. Yep, I'm a loser at the age game until I am no longer here. So, all right. So that's your shade.
Bork wants me to do Titans at 2 today. Just fresh out of the chair, still loopy, can't talk. It'd be a disaster. You guys would probably enjoy it, but it would suck.
Yeah.
So what's your shade, Austin?
My shade. There was there's a lot of stuff that's happened after the Tennessee Vols somehow just threw that game away against Arkansas. But I saw somebody who is like a media radio personality on Vols Facebook, because that place has been a wild spot to be.
That sounds like the worst place on earth, actually.
Most like team Facebook places are terrible places, especially off of a loss. But
I was going to say it's one step up from a chat room, but it's basically the chat room of the internet now, right?
For sure. Yeah. There was an actual like public figure personality who posted, and it got a lot of attention, of how could Josh Heupel motivate young men as a leader of a football team because he is out of shape. Because look at how he dresses.
Oh my!
Look at how much weight he's gained. Look how sloppy he is.
Crazy.
How can that be a motivator of young men? That is the dumbest thing that and this isn't new. Like it happens.
I'm sure.
Every so often a rotation comes around where some fan base has a couple people in the minority that are questioning their coach's ability because they are out of shape. And every time I'm just like, Andy Reid, right? Like Andy Reid.
I was about to say, we were just talking about Pat Mahomes, who's been his coach this whole time.
Yeah. And then if they say, well, look how he dresses. Like he looks like he's wearing pajamas out there. I'm like, Belichick. I'm like, I mean, who cares? Like the whole thing is, when football coaches typically gain a bunch of weight, look, you want them to be healthy, but that usually means that they're so dialed in and hyper focused on their job that they don't do other things. Like like Sean McVay is an outlier. He's a good coach and he's also super fit. Name the like Matt LaFleur, good coach, super fit. But like, who else? Yeah, who's a good coach and fit? Because Cliff Kingsbury, not it. Larry Fedora, North Carolina, fired for Mac Brown, old and out of shape. Like it's not. That's not how so it's just dumb. It's so low.
Kevin says Rex Ryan was the head coach. That guy goes to my Y, by the way. One time I was sitting next to Rex Ryan in a sauna and didn't know it until I looked over. And
Robert Saleh, super in shape, fired today.
Well, that's my thing. Is I think
it doesn't matter.
You should want your coaches. It's a spectrum with coach looks, and you want to be on the edges, right? You either need to have somebody that is impossibly good looking for how good they are at their coaching job. And you're just like, how is Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur, how do they look the way that they do and still you do coaching hours? Or you want them to look like just the trashiest football coach you ever seen in your life, like Belichick and Andy Reid, just like, oh, that guy doesn't care about anything but grinding tape until 3 a.m. in the morning. That's where I'm at. So that's it. Of all it's just the biggest thing for me is it's so funny when vibes are bad with a team. There are a million zillion things that you could be on Vol's Facebook today complaining about. And all of them would be more important than the physical fitness of your head coach.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter at all. And your coach could be in great shape, but not be like Dan Campbell's. Apollo brings up but these guys are younger-ish former players.
And you're saying that got a lot of run, that Facebook?
Yeah, it got because people were buying it. Like, yeah, look how sloppy he looks. Because of course the guy that posted it picked a picture of Heupel mid cough,
the worst picture ever.
Yeah, right. The worst picture you could possibly find of the guy. And people were saying Vrabel's in shape. I mean, he got a lot less in shape the more he was coaching. That's what happened. That's kind of part of the profession. So again, my shade is people judging coaches and their coaching ability by the level of shape they're in. It's irrelevant. It does not matter. And it does not affect the motivation for the players they are coaching. So that is my dumb shade of the week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've done a bad job. Folks in the chat, do we have any shades we should share?
Yeah, I kind of distracted everybody by talking about coaches.
It's okay. You know what?
Physical
features.
Throwing
some shade. If you got some shade in the chat, it's not too late. Throw it in there.
Rhino, shade to Disney. Hurricane hits tomorrow, and they haven't announced closing, leaving employees scrambling for last-minute supply.
Oh, man.
That's not good. Yeah,
that's crazy. Shut that thing down.
Yeah, I think there are definitely some shades on.
Yeah, my shade to the Gulf Coast for just not giving Florida a break, man.
Yeah, it's brutal, man.
It's bad. It's really bad.
I saw a lot of national weather people last night on social media that were just like, guys, this is not fear mongering. This is a big one. We're
super worried.
I'm dead serious about this because everybody thinks people are just trying to attack people with fear, but
the hope this time is that at least it'll just be hope from my lips to God's ears that there's not a casualty situation like last time, because surely people realize from 2 weeks ago, you need to get out of town. I don't know if you saw this, Austin, during the first run, there was in one of the counties hardest hit. The police department, the day before, came out, and this was a great talk about fear mongering, but in a good way. This was a great line by them. They said, if you or anybody you know is planning on staying and weathering the storm at home, please purchase permanent markers to write identifying information on your arm or leg so that we can tell who you are when we find you later.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is not fear mongering. It's true. And that's why 70 some odd 100, however many people died needlessly in that. So hopefully folks know, get out of town. Your house it's expensive and it's awful, but your house can be replaced. You cannot.
Yeah. And Tampa, I watched something last night about the invisible bubble that Tampa has had over it for a while, of how that Tampa has always avoided disaster.
Oh, really?
And it's said the hurricane experts have warned Tampa of you're developing this really big city and you're a sitting duck.
Right. The bill's going to come due eventually.
It's going to happen. And there has just been this.
And now it's all happening in 2 weeks.
There's been
Holy
an invisible
cow.
shield over. Tampa didn't get hit by the first one. It was
did they not? But this is the one that's going to kill them.
This one's
right?
a direct hit towards Tampa.
Man.
And so people are like, hey, this invisible shield at some point is not going to give up. And you're going to get just smacked. And
I'm guessing there's probably some geographical data in terms of the city, how much of the city's built below water level and all of that.
It's about the pathway of most storms and how in Tennessee, normally storms come west to east, right? But in Tampa, it's how it's been set up that the storms, as I was actually in Clearwater a couple of years ago for, was it Sandy? But it just, the way typically it goes, it just went right by and didn't affect anything, but it went in different areas. but I saw that like if it goes just north of Tampa, now it's just flooding. The bay is now just about to, if it's just north of Tampa or on Tampa, the bay is going to take over, and that invisible
city will be
bubble
underwater.
shield is toast.
Well, Jason says he's in Tampa right now. Apparently it didn't hit direct the first one, but it's already a disaster. It's going to hurt if the wind speeds a lot of the area already underwater. That's the thing that I'm most interested about, is how much of the area that's about to be hit again is still trying to recover flood wise from the first one. I'd imagine a lot of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, any other shade? Rooney says shade on me for not reading the comments well enough. That's on me. You know, we got to coach better, play better.
It's okay. Yeah. It's it'll happen. You do reps. Reps is how it goes.
Right. Got to bank reps.
Jason said mom's house was 4 feet underwater. She lost all of her furniture, has to take all of her drywall out. Yeah, it's awful. Well, hope everybody does stay safe. It seems like we do have a decent amount of people who either live in that area or have people that live in that area. So make sure everybody stays safe. Text your people. Make sure you're all good as Milton is coming in the next 24 hours or so. But that's it for us on this Tuesday. Make sure you hit that like button. Thumbs up, like the show before you go on Facebook, on YouTube. And then Buck will be back live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime at 7. Actually, no, I'm sorry.
Sam, right? Yeah.
Sam will be on A to Z Primetime tonight at 7. It's a Tuesday night, which means Sam's takes over during the season here for Buck on Primetime. And then Easton and I will be back tomorrow on a Wednesday for a little trivia action. We'll see you guys then. Appreciate it as always.